Sahana vavatu Sahanau bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant, and may we not cavil at each other. Oh, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to everyone. So, welcome to the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia, and we are now going to start the study circle on Gita Vahini, the commentary on Gita by our Lord Sai. We have come up to page 35 on the hard copy, and on the soft copy which you have on your online, page 21. Right, page 21, here page 31 chapter. So last week we talked about dharma. So Lord Krishna was telling Arjuna how he should stay and fight against adharma. So that is his dharma. Being a Kshatriya, you need to protect dharma. So he was talking about it and emphasizing. That is the time we talked about what is the various kind of dharma we have. Dharma is a very wide word. Usually we translate in our 5 values, Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, Himsa. Dharma as right conduct. That is really very limited translation. Dharma has much bigger connotation. Right conduct, behaving, but you may not be following dharma. So dharma is much more encompassing. So, and we talked about dharma, each one of us has, depending on the gender, that is called laingika dharma. And depending upon our ashrama, that means stage in life, whether you are a child, young adult, middle-aged person, old. So depending upon that also our dharma changes. We talked about it. And third is depending upon our aptitude and action. Some people like to be said thinkers, some are warriors, and some are businessmen and entrepreneurs, some are labor. So differently, this is all depending upon each one of us has an aptitude. So this is Laingika Dharma, Varna Dharma, Ashrama Dharma, we talked about it. But there is something which transcends all these dharmas, that is Atma Dharma. That is universal, whether you are a man, woman, child, old person, whatever stage you know, that is the highest dharma. To get that, you need to do your other dharma properly. That is why he is telling you, you are a Kshatriya, you need to perform your dharma by attacking the adharmic people. Because he wanted to go, run away from the war, and go and do contemplation in Himalayas. He says that this is not his nature. He has been fighting all his life. He has killed so many enemies. Now he doesn't want to do because he is attached to his kith and kin. So even if he goes into Himalayas, he will be always thinking how to fight because your mind is not there. So important thing is you follow your aptitude. That is where we talk about the story of Dharma Vyadha in Mahabharata, where Even though he was a butcher, he was a holy butcher who could teach about the highest spiritual truths. This monk who did tapas all his life, he didn't know the truth because he had a lot of arrogance, pride. So more important is how you live. Whereas this man, even though he was a butcher, he was a holy butcher. He could teach Gita to this Brahmin monk who spent all his time in tapas and austerities to show how you lead your life. You lead your life with purity, doing your dharma. Then you will know the truth. Otherwise, even though you may know all the things you do tapas, you will get more spiritual pride even. That is more dangerous than other prides. So that is where we talked about. And also for reading the Atma Dharma, we said one of the things is to control our mind and senses. That is where we talked about King Yayati's story, where he was showed that if you don't practice control of senses, even if you have thousands of years of life extended, you will never be happy. Always, we gave the two comparisons. Swami said, what is it? Bottomless pit. That means whatever you do that, or the fire which never ends because you are adding all these desires. This is where we talked about. So now we are going to continue in the theme, and Swami is talked about how Lord Krishna talked about Swadharma Nishta. So just we'll continue on page 35 hard copy, page 21 in the soft. Please proceed.
Sairam. One should engage in activity with a mind steady in the midst of fortune, good and bad. This was what Krishna advised in the 37th sloka. The 39th is a transitional verse, for after speaking of Esha Dibita Samkhya, I have described to you the Samkhya arguments. Krishna says that he will go on to teach him the Yoga Buddhi or Buddhi Yoga, and asks him to listen with care. When the desire to attain the fruit of action is renounced with full intellectual awareness, then it becomes what Krishna calls Buddhi Yogam. The intellect has to be purified and trained. Otherwise, it is impossible to give up attachment to the fruits of action and to continue doing things as either duty or dedication. Such a purified intellect is named Yoga Buddhi. Cultivate it, and then, through it, liberate yourself from the bondage of karma. Really speaking, you, the true you, are above and beyond karma. You might say that you will desist from karma rather than practice the difficult discipline of renouncing the fruits thereof. But that is impossible. No. Karma is inevitable. One has to do some karma or the other. Not for a single moment can one free oneself from karma. Nahi kashit shanamapi, as says Krishna in the 3rd chapter of Gita. Arjuna, every karya or deed or karma activity has a beginning and an end. But nishkama karma, desireless karma, has no such. That is the difference between the two. When karma is done with a view to gain therefrom, one has to suffer the loss, the pain, and even the punishment. But nishkama karma frees you from all these. So, in these paragraphs, this is really a common theme that Lord Krishna teaches to Arjuna throughout the whole Bhagavad Gita. And he talked, one of the things that really struck me as we read before is that Atma doesn't die, nor can it be killed. So it's really the battle of this little I and the big I, or the ego and the self, where when you have these attachments, when you're doing any kind of action with a hope of some sort of result, it's really the ego that's controlling us at that point, and we're relying on a label, or we're relying on some kind of word I wrote down, identification. However, as we work through that and we recognize the big I, or the Atma, the self that is within, when we recognize it within ourselves, and I love this line here, really speaking, you, the true you, are above and beyond karma. Basically, that's when karma sort of transitions into dharma, which when we learn through a lot of these scriptures, it is right conduct, but then there is more of a duty aspect to it, more our divine duty, and that's when you follow your Atma, or what your self is telling you. So it's really, as we get through each of our births and our deaths, it's shedding the ego a little bit more to recognize the big I, or the self that's within.
Good. So here I want to say dharma, another aspect. People, dharma this is the real nature, like Swami said, who really you are. What is the dharma of Agni? To burn. If it's something, if it doesn't burn, you won't say Agni. What is the dharma of water? Wet. It will wet you whenever you have water. What is the dharma of wind? It blows. It gives the breeze. What is the dharma of sun? It gives light, sunlight. So everything has a dharma. Each one has an inherent dharma. That is a part of that. Similarly, the dharma of all of us is that we are divine. That is where the real you are. That is why Swami says we are three things. What we think we are. So most of the thing, what do we think we are? This body. Oh, now I'm getting old, I have to do this, I have got wrinkles, or I'm getting knee pains, or I'm getting this sickness. So the body and even mind, you think, oh, say I'm low or I'm high, all these things related to what we think we are. That is, we are identifying with body, mind, intellect. What some said, what others think you are. People judge, oh, he's like this, he's irritable, he is angry, he is manipulative. People judge about people. That is what others you think you are. But the real you are, that is the third one, is you are the Atma. So neither you are what you think you are, that is wrong. What others think you are, that is wrong. The really you are is the Atma. So the whole spiritual practice is to go to that stage where we find we really are. Then what is the thing? What is the solution? We need to be practical. So every day, all of us are involved in karma. Is there anybody who is not doing karma? Whether you do karma at home, in the morning to evening, or karma at work, or karma in society. So wherever you are, morning to evening, karma is nothing but activity. We are all active, doing something. Even eating is a karma, and walking is a karma, and then helping. So everybody is involved in karma. Why this karma is, we are all born because of our karma. If we didn't karma, we won't be born. We are all of us because of our karma. And this karma has two things, good and bad. And the law of karma is that you sow the good, you'll get the good. You sow the bad, you will get the bad. That is the law of karma. Nobody can change that except God. So like Swami gives a beautiful example, you put a neem seed, you get the neem tree. If you put mango seed, you'll get mango tree. You can't expect neem seed and get a mango fruit. So whatever it is, even Jesus said, as you sow, you reap. So that is the law of karma. So we'll have good results, bad results. So there are punya, merit, demerit. But both are a problem. If you get too much good merit, you'll go to heaven. But after you finish it, you have to come back again. That is why Lord Krishna says, Chine punye martya loka vishanti. Once your time is gone, good time, your punyam, merit, you have to be born again here. And if you do the bad thing, you have to go to hell. But in this world, if you are there, you have both good and bad, you will be in this world. It is a combination of both. So you say sometimes you will have pain because of what the sins you have done, bad things, and you will have good time because of the good deeds you have. You will have both. So this is called mixture. There in the heaven only good things, and there hell bad. Here is a combination. All of us go through that. Then how to transcend that? That is why Vivekananda beautifully said, good act is like a golden chain, and bad acts is like an iron chain. But both are chains to bind you. So, because gold chain means it looks nice, but it is still going to bind. To transcend that, how do you go beyond? We are all going to involve how to go beyond that. So that is why the Lord Krishna said, Swami, three ways. One is Nishkama Karma. Just whatever activity we do, we make it selfless. Let me tell you, so I was involved in the organization for 40 years, and spiritual organization, we are good. But it's not that easy. I find people who are devoted for 40, 45 years to completely think. Really selfless service means you are really dedicating everything to God and have complete belief that God is the doer and you are doing it to God. That is the real service. And let me tell you, I struggle with that. A lot of people struggle. So it is not that easy, but that is the goal. Service is the one, it purifies our heart. Chittasya shuddhaye karmana. The reason Swami introduced service is the way to purifying heart is because when you do that, our ego goes down. So that is the activity. One of the things is selfless service. For that, two important things. You should think you are not the doer. Second, you dedicate all our actions to God. So that is the path. But the second path is, that is what they have Buddhi Yogam, the path of bhakti, devotion. God, I am nothing. You are the one who is doing everything. So I am just your instrument. That is why Sri Ramakrishna used to use, you are mother, you are the operator, I am the machine. You are the charioteer, I am the chariot. And I am the home, you are the indweller. And I am the puppet, you are the puppeteer. So just you are making me dance, so you are just playing the game the way you are. Lord, you are everything, your will prevails and everything. That is the kind of complete surrender. That is the easy path through which you love God, adore God. Then this is the way all the great people like Mirabai, Tyagaraj, Surdas, Purandardas, great Christian mystics, Sufi mystics, they all attained it. So that is another way not to be bound by this law of karma. Actually, that is because ultimately to realize the truth, who you are, only way is jnana. Jnana devatu kaivalyam, the scriptures say. So, but it is difficult, there is a self-inquiry. So then the Lord Krishna says in Gita, here he said that one word, buddhi yogam. And when you read, Krishna calls buddhi yogam. That means to know that there is only one thing. Then I asked Swami, how to do that? Because in one place, Lord Krishna says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. You do my bhajan, we do my worship very sincerely. Tesham satata yuktanam, always. You worship me, I will give you buddhi yoga. Just I will make you see the oneness. That looks easy, right? Just so, Swami, you said that you will give buddhi when I do bhajans and very sincerely do that. Do that? Swami said, yes, I will give buddhi yoga. If we have that sincerity, intensity, and dedication, he assured he will give us. We need to have that. That is the classical example is Arjuna in that whole battlefield of Kurukshetra. That time, he says, Dadami Divya Chakshu. So everybody was seeing him ordinary everything. But whereas Arjuna saw Vishwarupa Darshanam in whole cosmic vision of Vishnu or Krishna, where everything is already, these people are dead, these people are going, these mountains, rivers, everything was there. But everybody was there, they are not able to see that, only him, because Lord Krishna has given that vision. That is why the God, by his grace, gives the vision, you will have that oneness. And the third path is because he says, Nahi kaschit kshanam api jatu tishtatya karma krita. That means even for a moment we can. So you should say, who is really there? You should have the self-inquiry, path of jnana, like Ramana Maharshi said, who am I? Who is talking about liberation? Who is that I? So go on self-inquiry. This is really the ultimate path. Is just once you do that, that is why once you have jnanam, that is Lord Krishna says, jnanagdi dagda karmanam tamahuhu panditam buddha. Once you have jnana, all your karma is gone. That minute you have jnana, that minute all, we have three types of karma for that. One is sanchita karma, what we did in our previous lives. We don't know. Second is prarabdha karma, what we already did, it started giving effect as in sickness, physical, mental, or troubles in the life or work or anywhere else. That is prarabdha karma already. And third one is agami karma. What we are doing now will lead the results in the future. So these are the karmas. But once you know your truth, that same minute, jnanagdi dagdha karmanam, it is like a huge mountain of cotton is there. You put a fire matchstick. What happens? Just in an instant, it is all the whole thing becomes ashes. Similarly, the minute you have jnana, all your karma instantly, not it takes a while, instantaneously it is gone. So these are the three practices you can do by itself, but the combination of the three, service and bhakti yoga and the jnana yoga. That's what we do. Here we are doing the discussion of the Swami's words, teachings. And then we will sing bhajans after that. That is the bhakti yoga. And then we will go and do service lateral. So this is the way to go beyond the bounded duties of karma. But see, Swami talked about in the sloka 37, so for recollecting, so go to 31 to 37, we talked before. Does anybody remember? That is where he talked about our dharma. So where he talks to Arjuna, your duty. We discussed this before. That means don't go away, go into the forest. People will make fun of you. You are such a hero. How could you do that? But there, his Swami himself says 237 sloka. What does he say? Hatova prapsase swargam, jitva va bhokshase mahim, tasmad uttishta kaunteya yuddhaya kritanishcheha. Just make a firm determination. You are going to fight this war. Why? If you die in the war, that it is said in the scriptures, you will go to heaven. Hatvaya prapse swargam. Because that is heroic death. Even anybody in the war for the good cause, for the good of all, like a country, for a patriot, you do, then you that. And jitvava bochase mahi. You, in case you will win the war, you are going to rule the kingdom. That is a fun. So either way, you are the win. But you run away from the war, then what people will make fun of you. This guy is a coward. He just do that. So that tasma dushtista kaunteya. Just get up, get up. So he's giving like he's the great motivational speaker. So Lord Krishna is telling, hey, either way, you are going to win-win situation. Why don't you go and act? But how do you do that? That is why there also 38 he says, Sukha dukkhe same kritva is a very famous slokam. Labha labhau jaya jayau. Tato yuddhaya yujyasya naivam papam avapsesi. What did we say? Our karma will give us bondage, right? Papam. Sin will get good. So he says you won't get it. How? Sukha dukkhe same kritva. Pleasure and pain. You treat same. Labha labhau. Gain or loss. Jaya jaya, success and failure. So these things like pleasure and pain, profit and loss, and success and failure, then you do the fight, yuddha yujyasya, then you won't get any bondage. So you have you have killed your uncles, cousins, or grandparents, teachers, which is very sinful even to kill one person. But even if you kill everybody, still you won't have sin, because you are following the divine command. That's very important, because he talked about that thing in this. So we should, that's why I want to dwell on that in detail. Now, anybody else has any comments or questions? If not, we can proceed. Go ahead.
No, it's not a question. It's thank you for explaining this whole thing. There is a couple of more things, because we discussed this before about Swami's song, that Sathya Dharma Mushanti Prema. In that one, Bhakti Toda Bhagavantuni Dalachichu Nitya Dharmamul Nirvartinchina Atti Janakunaku Raja Yoga. So he gives an example of Janaka. I think Janaka's example comes more often. And in this song also we see, he says that you perform the action like how Janaka did. He is, as in the king, as many times we discussed this, how busy and how in full action he is, but he is never attached to anything. So he was selflessly acting. It's very hard, but Swami always gives the best example. But again, when I look into the details of it, many times what happens is we try to judge the action, and that's where we get into this mistake of, and then we will attach ourselves to the action as well. Oh, this is a bigger action, smaller actions, this is big, small. And there is one more thing that I wanted to share one beautiful story of a Nayanar. And there is a Sathya Nayanar. Suddenly just remembered that.
People who don't know, Nayanar is a Shaivite saint. Like Alvars are Vaishnavite saints, that Nayanar are Shaivite saints, so who adore the Lord Shiva as the supreme Brahman. Whereas Alvars, they consider Vishnu as the supreme Brahman. Both are same. So, but here these are the wonderful, particularly the Shaivite saint stories. That if you read, you'll be thinking how much God would test any devotee. If you really, they will say, okay, I don't want to be devotee. This is, I don't want. They all go through the greatest tests you can imagine. Like we talked about one time, Kannappa Nayanar, how he had to take out his eyes, and same thing, somebody has to kill their own son, like that. So many stories. You go ahead and share.
But in this unique story, what caught my eyes was really, it's the Sakhya Nayanar is he basically had some land, and he was doing the growing the thing, and he was selling, and that's how he lived. But the thing is, he had the passion, wanted to know what is this truth, what is the real truth. And then suddenly he got, by the time there's a lot of Buddhists, and then it was growing in the southern India, so he joined the Buddhist and he practiced Buddhism, and then he became a Buddhist as well, and he was going and is doing that very sincerely, learned it. And then suddenly one time he was just passing by the village, he saw the Shiva Lingam there. He got so attracted, and suddenly he had that so much love to have the Shiva Lingam. But he's already a Buddhist, and if you change, and it will be a problem. And he knew that. And then, so how do he had that so much love, but how to really pray? So immediately he took a stone and he threw at the Shivalingam, and he said that this is the prayer, throwing stone to the Shivalingam. I mean, nobody will think like that, but he had that thing, and he, with so much love, he did that. Then he went, and he was that's the way he prayed, and came back, and then he ate. So he took the next day also, he took every time. So, okay, before he eats his lunch, only one time he eats. So then he would go take a stone and throw at the Shivalingam. This is what he was doing. And that was his prayer, and that is his worship to Shivalingam. And of course, then nobody will see anything, or, Buddhist will not say anything. So he's continuing that. Then one day, suddenly, he forgot about that service to Shivalingam, throwing a stone. He was about to eat, and then he remembered. And he ran to the Shivalingam, just far away. And then he went there, and he saw the Shivalingam, was so happy, and then took a stone and threw at the Shivalingam. And there the Lord manifests and gives the vision to him. If you really look at it, It is an action, what he did. If you judge by the action, what he was doing, that he was throwing a stone at the Shivalingam, and the Lord is pleased by that, it will be looking very weird for us. For example, the thing given is that the child to the mother, it will pull the hair and anything, and the mother will not say anything. Immediately, mother will attend to the child. It is the love that matters, the underlying current, the fundamental is love. And if it is anything that is really, that action is done with that kind of love, then it automatically ends in that selfless nishkama karma. So I think that fundamental is love if we can actually practice love.
Good. So that is why God is called Bhava Priya, not Bahya Priya. What the feeling we have to do that. So it is good to put the flowers and decorate. Swami said, but more important is he give the Hrudaya Pushpa, you give the flower of the heart. The other more than all these other flowers. Same thing, everything is, there is a beautiful Manasika Stotram of Lord Shankara, what he talks about, not the, how internal puja you can do. And Krishna talked about Janaka, so don't take it. Janaka was a king. You know, he's the father of Mother Sita. But he was not an ordinary king. Swami gives that example. People think, oh, I'm so busy with work and all that. How can I think about God? How can you become? Swami says, greatest rishi, he's like a Brahmarshi, is Janaka, even though he was a king, because that is why he has no body consciousness. That is why he's called Videha. King, his name is called Videha king. That is why his daughter's name is Vaidehi. So because his Janaki, Sita, another name is Vaidehi. Because he is Videha, this Janaka, so he has no body consciousness. That is why he could even teach the sages. Like when the Shuka came, his father Vyasa sent Shuka to Janaka, go and learn from Janaka. Because that is why Swami says, whenever you are talking spirituality, three things. He said, you should have heart of a Buddha, because Buddha's heart was full of compassion. Head of, anybody wants to say head of? Shankara. Discrimination. He is the one who is incarnation of Lord Shiva, where he gave all the commentaries and Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, everything. As a singular, before the age of 32, he traveled all over India and gave his jnana. And third is hands of Janaka. So just service, when you do, you should do with that attitude, head in the forest and hands in the society, that kind of thing. So I wanted, so now you have your, I wanted a question or comment. You go ahead, Pravina. Yeah.
This, continuing on what Krishna said, Brother Krishna said about Janaka, how he was able to rule the kingdom without having that real body consciousness. I think that's also here. If that gnanam is convinced in your intellect, if it's all superficial, that's a different story. That's why this intellect conviction, that's when it automatically happens. There is no struggle. It's just spontaneous for Janaka.
Yeah, that is why there is famous story, a lot of you know. You know that story, is this true or that true? Idi nijama, adi nijama. So he is the one, you know, that is worth repeating. People know to show how we take it, everything very seriously. But this King Janaka, so once he was sleeping, and then suddenly he got a dream in which he is a great king. He lost his kingdom. The enemies came and invaded his kingdom. They dragged him out of the kingdom. They were beating him up. And then he was in a forest. And then he was so hungry, thirsty. And meanwhile, somebody came. They were distributing food. And they were doing, and he was there, and he could food. Finally, he was happy. He had little few grains of food, water. Then meanwhile, some guy that some bird comes and takes away the thing. It all falls on the ground. He was so hungry on the top of it, that little thing he could not have. He cried. He lost the kingdom. He lost everything. He was crying loud. So everybody was thinking, what is happening to the queens and all that? What happened to King Janaka? Then he woke up. Then instead of saying anything, is this true or that true? Yes, achha hai, wo sach hai. Yes, achha hai, wo sach hai. He goes on saying. And thus our king went cuckoo. He has got some problem. So they called the royal physician to check what is happening to the king. He's such a noble man. What happened to him suddenly? He says, I can't feel out. Then called all the sages. They could not figure out what happened. The queens, they didn't know what to do. Then I think Ashtavakra comes, says, king, even with him says, is this true or not true? Then Ashtavakra gives the answer. Then he says, Your Majesty, this is not true. That is also not true. Both are untrue. The real truth is only you are true. The Atma is true. Both are. That is also unreal. This is also unreal. That is night dream you had. This is day dream. Both are dreams. That is so that he realized that. Then he was happy. Then he came back just to show the lesson Swami talked about. Is actually devotees from Greece. Actually, this may be available. They enacted this in front of Swami in Purnachandra 30 years ago. Very beautifully they enacted because they understood the philosophy. So everything, once you realize that, because once you lose your kingdom in the night, like you lost your job in your sleep or something, will you cry in the morning? You won't cry, right? So a great realized soul like Ramana, Nisargadatta, or Ramakrishna, they won't cry because they think this is also a dream. We cry when something we lose because we think this is real. That is but it is not theory. It is all need to be experienced. When we go through the challenges, it is not that easy. So to have that, all the practices are to realize that, come to that stage. Otherwise, any amount of reading, do survey, everything, finally that knowledge has to dawn us, and it will come with the grace of Swami. Anybody else has any comments? If not, can conclude. Oh, you have some question, Kate?
Yeah, there's a question. Sairam, thank you for a wonderful explanation. My question is, during World War II,
Can you increase the sound a little? Yeah.
my question is, during World War II, some German soldiers refused to fight Hitler's war and were arrested. Many believed going to this war was wrong, and they decided not to be part of Hitler's war. How does this compare to Arjuna refusing to fight?
There's big difference. So what Hitler was doing was the genocide. He was killing the people because on the basis of prejudice, that because of race, color, nationality, he was doing that, which is completely adharmic. So you should remember what you are fighting. You are fighting against adharma. So here, what Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna is to fight adharma. He is not talking about people. Anybody who follows adharma, we need to fight. So that is why even in real life, it may be our own family members, your friend, your wife, children, somebody who may be doing the adharma thing. It doesn't matter who it is. You need to stick to dharma. And it is clearly shown, like so many examples in the scriptures, like Bharata. He disowned his own mother Kaikeyi because she was on the wrong path. So the Vibhishana, he disowned his own brother Ravana because he was in the adharmic path. Mirabai disowned her own husband because he was on the wrong path. And Tulsidas, he disowned his own wife because she was not supportive. Prahlada, he disowned his own father because he was on the wrong path. So it is not, and it doesn't matter who it is. Is it dharmic or not? Is it based on the basis of truth and dharma? Then you stick to that. That is what it is important, because truth is God, dharma is God. It is. He was deluded, Arjuna, because of his body attachment to these people, but he didn't look at the dharma. Similarly, those people, what he was doing was adharmic, so they were doing the right thing. So they should resist. Even in this war, the Kaurava side, there is one Vikarna, I think.
Vikarma.
Vikarna, he was a young man, like you, Karthik. He said, no, what you are doing is wrong. I won't come with you. He have that courage to say that. So whenever you should have the conflict between dharma and adharma, we need to, with all steadfastly, stick to dharma. It doesn't matter what people say, people think, because finally we need to satisfy the real you, which is our conscience. Then we will all be happy.
No, even in this war, it's said in the Mahabharata that before the war started, the rules were made, and it was an announcement made that whoever wants, who believes this is the dharma side, you want to fight, you can fight this side, or if you want to go to the other side, you can go. And it is said that there are some people who moved from Duryodhana's side and came to Arjuna's side, Yudhishthira's side. And there are a couple of people who went from this side to that side as well, because they thought that the other side will win also, because they felt that is. But it is again left to the individual to make the decision. So it is very clear, and what is dharma and adharma. It's basically a dharmic war that was.
That's why the people are great people like Bhishma and Drona. They are not ordinary. Bhishma is the one greatest devotee of Lord Krishna. So he's called greatest devotee of Lord Krishna. Shanta Bhakta is called. That is why he is the one who gave next to Bhagavad Gita, the most sacred scripture is Vishnu Sahasranamam in Mahabharatam. He is the one who taught in presence of Lord Krishna, Bhishma. And that man has to be on the bed of arrows. Why? Because he was supporting adharma. Even though he's a noble man, he was supporting adharma. He had to pay that. Same thing, Dronacharya, such a great teacher and warrior, he has to pay for that because he was on the side of adharma. So for all of us to make sure you discriminate. Is it dharma and adharma? If it's adharma, run away from that. Whether it's people or things, we cannot hear.
There's one more question. If something bad happens to a person, is it always because of their karma?
Yes, that is the law of karma. It is sad, but it is. We need to be factual and truthful that it is it. So actually one time I remember I was in Vedanta Society of Hollywood, one of the Swamis was telling Swami, we have this rheumatism, this pain, this lady is complaining, all that. So, but yeah, go to, Swami was very nice. He said, go to your doctor and get medicine. But why should I get this? So please tell the truth. It is because of your karma. It looks like it is very, very cruel, but that is true. Whatever we experience in life, the people come into our life, the events which come into our life, it is all because of what our karma is. So the best way to transcend karma, as I already told you, three things. First is divine grace. Divine grace is there, he can burn off all our karma. But for that, we need to be deserving by doing the intense sadhana. When we have that, then the karma won't bite. Otherwise, all the things which happen to us is because of that. But another thing, what she was telling is bad. One time we were telling Swami, this is bad. Swami, in God's sense, there is no good, no bad. Everything is good. Everything is, there is only good thing. We, because of our duality, we think this is good, this is bad. In the ultimate sense, there is good and bad is same. Why do we go to God, right? He will make the bad to good, right? Oh, I want to pass the exam, so please do that. Oh, I have the pain, so he'll get rid of the pain. I have some trouble with because of some people, pray, he will do that. So that is called in Lord, the Rudram we chant, there are two aspects for Lord Shiva, Ghora and Aghora. And that means for Lord God, there are two aspects. One is troublesome aspect, one is good aspect. So in general, we pray to God so that this troublesome thing goes changed to good. That is what. But this cannot go on forever, because in life both will come. Lord, make this bad thing to good. But a stage will come when Lord will make this Lord Shiva, there is beautifully explained, Ghora and Agora. Ghora means troublesome, Agora means makes it. But a stage will come, everything will be Shivam, auspicious, whether there's nothing good, nothing bad. Everything is a sign of His grace. They will rejoice, saying everything is a sign of His grace. He will be so happy. It doesn't matter what happens, because for Him, as Janaka said, this is all unreal. So this is all His prasadam. So He will make everything. But that in the beginning stage, we pray so that our bad things change to good. But ultimately, by His grace, as we practice more, you will realize that everything is Shivam. Everything is awesome. There is nothing bad at all, because it all came from Him. How can it be anything bad? So that is the experience. But for that, we need to do a lot of spiritual practice.
Lord, thine will be done on
Yeah.
earth as in heaven.
Okay, so we'll continue next week, Sarah.